I'll start with this photo as it represents one of the darkest moments in my life. It was taken on August 23rd, 2012. I had just gotten into a motor vehicle accident and was rushed to a hospital. They put a splint on my leg and bandaged up the remaining wounds on my body. A few days later, I was transferred to a traditional clinic where I received treatment for my broken leg. Included are my X-ray photos to show the extent of damage that occurred to my leg. On September of 2013, just over a year after my accident, I moved to Canada for postgraduate education. As a student in a new country, I was filled with passion and wanted to participate in as much as I could. I helped organize several shows at the college I attended, which was fun, but after playing soccer, basketball, volleyball, I noticed I was always in pain. Before my accident, I used to dance and I loved acrobatics. After trying those activities though, I would always be in terrible pain. My ankle stung, my knee felt like it was grinding, my leg wasn't as stable as it used to be, so I knew there was a problem. After a few visits to a family doctor and taking more x-rays, I was referred to an orthopedic surgeon. As you can see in these photos, there was a malunion of my tibia and fibula, which was causing the pain I was having. The surgeon decided I needed a surgery to fix it. The bones would have to be rebroken and aligned properly. I would have to start my healing process all over. I was devastated to hear this, but at the same time I was happy with it if it meant getting rid of my ankle pain. Because at that point, both the injury and the pain were affecting me negatively, not only physically, but mentally, socially, and even financially. On August 8, 2014, I had my first surgery, a tibial IM nailing procedure. Here are x-ray photos from after the surgery. As you can see, I had a nail inserted into my tibia with screws to keep it in place, one at the top and one at the bottom. I learned from the surgeon that the fibula needed to be cut in order to gain proper access of the tibia, and the fibula would remain unjoined. This is a video of me a day after my surgery being trained by a physiotherapist on how to walk while using crutches. The rest of the year went by slowly, but I was able to stop using the crutches before winter and snow came. I couldn't imagine having to use crutches on snow and ice, and I'm thankful I didn't have to find out what that would be like. During this time, I was also able to record my first music EP, The Sights in My Rearview, with my friend. This was a plus for me as it was something I'd been wanting to do for a while. And because I wasn't working, I didn't feel as bored as I could have, as I would occupy myself writing music lyrics and short stories, and I also dabbled into photography during that time. On February 2015, during one of my follow-up appointments with a surgeon, it was determined my tibia wasn't joining or healing as quickly as it was supposed to. I would require another surgery where they would insert a larger nail. Another reason for this surgery was for the doctor to look at my knee with a scope. The results would verify what damage had occurred to my knee and what could be done to fix it, as it was still giving me pain after the first surgery. Again, I signed the consent forms as I was willing to do anything to get rid of the pain. March 24th, 2015, I had my second surgery. In this photo, I'm just recovering after the operation. I left the hospital the next day, but unfortunately had to go back to the ER the same night I was discharged. My right knee was critically swollen and I was dealing with one of the worst fevers I've ever experienced. Something wasn't right. I knew it. I mean, I've had malaria and typhoid fevers, but this, truthfully, this was on a different level and I thought I would pass out or even worse, pass away. When I got to the ER, I was put on oxygen and morphine IV. The next morning, I had yet another surgery done to flush out the infection that had come into my knee. In this video, you'll notice how my right knee is very swollen compared to the left. Next is a photo of me after that surgery and a video of me walking through the hospital. As you can imagine, it gets frustrating sitting in one place or lying on one spot for a long time. So when I got a chance, I went for as many walks as I could. It's your boy KKOB, aka the Killer Candy. Yeah, I had a surgery on Tuesday. That was like 3 days ago. And I got discharged on Wednesday, the day after. And at night time, I started having some pains and swelling and fever. So I knew how to come back. So I just had like a semi-emergency operation last night. And yeah, I'm right here. I'm still alive, you know. Killer Candy Records getting stronger, you know. We gotta keep the dream. Yeah, so we're about going for a little walk. You know, the physiotherapist said it's good to go for a walk to stimulate everything, you know. So, and right here I've got my monitoring unit. I've got my morphine. This is I've got this button right here. I use it every 5 minutes. And it gives me morphine. You know, like morphine is the best, you know. Morphine is the best, especially when you're in my condition. Don't do drugs, kids. And like over here I've got some antibiotics, but I think it's done. So yeah, so we're just gonna go for a walk. I think I'm not 100% sure. This next x-ray photos show how the new nail is bigger than the previous one I had. You can also tell the bottom screw is gone. In this photo you can see that although my dressings were removed, there was still quite a bit of swelling to my knee. You might be wondering, why do you have that bandage around your arm? That's because for the next 7 or 8 weeks after that emergent surgery, I had to go to the hospital daily for IV therapy to receive antibiotics for the infection in my knee. I had a PICC line inserted into my arm. This is like an IV that directly accesses the blood vessels closer to the heart, and it stays in your body much longer than a regular IV. The PICC line stayed in my body until my IV therapy was complete. Using antibiotics for a long time can also mess up your digestive system, but I just had to put up with it. In this clip, I'd gone out of town for a few days, so the hospital gave me enough antibiotic doses I could administer myself while I was away. So I was acting all cool, feeling like a nurse or a doctor and giving instructions on how to use the PICC line system. I used this as an opportunity to learn about the care I was receiving, which I likely wouldn't have done otherwise. First of all, you let the bubbles out because you don't want no bubbles in your bloodstream, okay? And then
twist it on.
You twist it on. And then you open this. You have to open this or else nothing is going to move. So when it's open, it allows the blood to flow. And then you flush a little bit. And then you check for blood return. Did you see the blood?
Saw the blood.
Can you see the blood?
See the blood.
And you flush. See? That's how it works, man. You know, I'm a doctor. I told you guys I'm a doctor, you know. The scope of my knee, taken in the second surgery, discovered I had some arthritis and had suffered a PCL injury. My doctor advised against getting a knee replacement as I'm still young and an artificial knee wouldn't last long enough to be worth it. So instead, by June of 2015, I started seeing a physiotherapist at the hospital. I would go twice a week to mainly focus on bringing strength to my right knee and surrounding areas. Due to the immobility I faced during my first treatment after the accident, I had muscle atrophy in my right leg and had lost a significant amount of muscle. My physio sessions at the hospital ended in July, so I started going to the gym at my college to continue rehabilitating my right leg. The last time I had tried going to the gym was around January 2014. That was before any of my surgeries, but I lasted for just 1 week as the pain wouldn't let me continue. By the end of August 2015, I had gotten so bored with doing only my knee exercises. I was surrounded by weights. I wanted to try lifting, so I did. And this photo right here is what I consider my first progress photo. When I started my fitness journey, I had no idea of the value of nutrition or even how to train properly, but I just loved going to the gym and working out. I felt like it gave me purpose again, especially after I started seeing my progress. I had no gym buddy, no personal trainer. Google and YouTube were my go-to place for fitness-related materials. To me, training at the gym became my football, my basketball, my volleyball. All those sports I couldn't really play anymore due to my knee injury. I was going to the gym approximately 4 days a week, excluding whenever I traveled out of town. In January 2016, I switched to a bigger gym and my motivation grew. As I read more about training and fitness, I started to split my workouts. My split consisted of chest and triceps, back and biceps, shoulders and traps, and I combined abs into some of those days. As for legs, I did them when I wasn't in too much pain as I didn't want to re-injure myself. Splitting my training helped with my progress because it gave me more resolution whenever I stepped into the gym. But one of the mistakes I made then was always doing cardio and using the same weight range again and again. I wasn't training progressively. By around June or July of 2016, I was starting to feel pains in my right leg again. The fibula that was supposed to remain cut was starting to join together and would rub against one another. The screw near my knee was hurting me as well, and I could feel it trying to poke out of my skin. I was again hindered by my injuries. I consulted with a surgeon and it was decided I would need another surgery. November 10th, 2016, I went for my fourth surgery. This time I had the screw near my knee removed and a bone graft was done to secure the joining fibula. Bone was taken from the area where I had the screw removed and was used to fuse the fibula together. Here are X-ray photos from that surgery. Although it looks hazy, you can tell the fibula is now joined. You can also see the screw close to my knee has been taken out. Filled with eagerness, I went back to the gym 1 month after my last surgery. This time I trained with more resolution. I made sure I increased my strength and weight progressively. I even reduced the amount of cardio I do, and I actually made very good progress. This was in the middle of winter while I was dealing with major insomnia and dizziness because of it. It affected my strength levels, but I made sure it didn't stop me from hitting the gym, and I've been going at it since then. Today, I'm happy with how far I've come, even though I haven't reached my goals yet. As you can tell, it hasn't been an easy road for me, but I made it work for what my abilities allow me. These are photos I took around September 2017 to show how far I've come, also to compare with where I was before I started. I used to strive for perfection, but I've learned life isn't perfect, and sometimes we just have to stop, reflect on, and appreciate how far we've come. I'm 27 today, was 22 when I got into my accident, and was 25 when I started this journey. My biggest advice to anybody out there is to just do it. Don't let anyone bring you down. Follow your heart and pursue your dreams. And the most important, believe in yourself.